Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Radio Check podcast. Now, we haven't posted a video in a while. We haven't recorded a video in a while. And that's all down to basically us all having like the worst schedule on planet Earth. I left home and moved into my uni accommodation.
We have lives.
Yeah, we all have very busy lives at the moment. But we are going to be back posting regularly because we now all are like settled on what's happening. But yeah, that just explains why we haven't been around. But also, we haven't missed too many races. We've only missed talking about 2 races, so we can get through them pretty quickly. So don't be sad because we're back. None of you missed us, but we're back anyway. Now, when we're recording this, it's the 8th of October, which is the exciting day that a lot of F1 driver market placements have happened. I will admit they happened at 1 a.m. UK time, or like 1:30 UK time. So
I'd already gone to bed, so I woke up to it at like 7 a.m. to watch the quali this morning. I was like,
there was a lot of people's reactions, I think, because like you say, everyone had gone to bed by the time these announcements had come out because obviously Japan time. I think they were saying like it was lunchtime when they announced it in Japan.
yeah, it was
Obviously,
before
for
like
us,
FP3.
yeah, it was like fucking like midnight for us, and no one was awake for it. But I was awake for it. I was like half asleep, like seeing Pierre's
Am I
and then I
dreaming?
was I was like, and then Nick's announcement threw me off because Sky didn't announce it. It was only announced by like AlphaTauri's page. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, is this real? Like, I genuinely thought for a good half an hour it wasn't real. And then all the Formula E drivers are posting about it. Nick posted about it. I was like, okay, so it's real now. But
My bestie.
yeah, we have a very interesting story with Hayley meeting Nick de Vries, which is over on our TikTok if you want to see it, because it's so funny. And my part in the story is probably the best part of the story. I'm not gonna lie to you. My favorite story I've ever had. Basically, don't let me and Hayley near F1 drivers or F3 drivers
No,
because
it's so cringy. I just
it
want
was
them
so
to be
awkward.
normal people, and I feel bad. But I want my hat signed. First world
Basically,
problems.
Nick, in short, Hayley could tell the good story on TikTok, which she did. But in short, basically,
Yeah,
we were
go check it
outside.
out on my TikTok.
Basically, in short, we were outside the Excel Centre and we saw Nick de Vries and Stoffel van Dorn coming out. And I said to Hayley, I was like, oh, like, didn't you want to go talk to them? And she was like, yeah, yeah. And she was like, oh, I'm too scared though. So I drag her, she's going to get that now. I drag her to like over to them. I'm like, oh, I stopped Stoffel. Stoffel was so quick at like signing the hat. And then we walked over to Nick and he signed Hayley's hat, and then he thought I wanted my hat signed. This awkward like minute, like confusion
I
between
don't
us
actually
all.
remember which one was Nick's.
It was
I
honestly
feel
so
like it's
awkward.
this one because he made me like hold the
No,
hat.
I think it's Dan's because I have no, that's not Dan's. Maybe it is then.
Nah, that's Dan's.
Yeah, Dan's is there. No, there.
Unless there's one on the top.
Kiera, where's yours? You need your hat. Kiera needs that.
And then I still don't know which driver signed it on the bottom of my cap in black. Like, that's a bit silly, isn't it? I don't know who you are.
Yeah, basically back to the story. Me and Hayley just got into this really awkward like kind of thing with Nick de Vries being like, no, I don't want you to have a hat. You want a picture with Hayley, like trying to divert him over there. And it was so awkward. I was so red by the end of this like conversation. It's so funny
Just
to
my
look back.
face, though. I'm like,
It was so awkward. It's not been awkward with any other driver that I've spoken to. Like I met Mitch, I met Dan like 3 times over the course of the weekend. Didn't meet Jake Dennis. So Jake, if I ever see you
Jakey
getting a picture with you,
boy.
furious. Um, but like it wasn't awkward with anyone else. I don't think it was Nick's fault. It was how we were going about trying to get this picture, but it was so funny. So
And
Nick
also,
DeVries always
unknown
has
to
no
us, he
problem.
was feeling a bit sad, probably because it hadn't been announced till like an hour after about his time penalty. So then he got his podium taken away.
But yeah, Nick de Vries will always be a part of me and Hayley's life because that was our bonding
Besties.
experience, basically.
Bestie. Someone asked me the other day, she was like, is that your boyfriend? I was like, I wish.
Oh my god, I love that. But yeah, we took a segue for Hayley's story, but it's honestly one of my favorite stories. But the news, I feel like the news of Nick. Well, first of all, the Nick of Pierre. No, the Nick of Pierre.
Why?
The news of Pierre leaving AlphaTauri and going to Alpine, I think is a step back. And I said what I said. To the wall.
I don't know. Because I feel like Alpine's doing quite well at the moment, aren't they? I feel like they've swapped places for McLaren though. Hold on. In the driver's
And now
standing.
fifth in the standings. But I mean, it's probably less toxic than being with AlphaTauri and like Red Bull.
Yeah.
But Alpine just aren't there. And I know AlphaTauri aren't. But like, I don't know. I didn't see it. I didn't see it happening until I physically didn't believe it was happening until it literally happened. And I was like,
4 points. McLaren are 4 points ahead of Alpine at the moment.
well, not for bloody long till Danny Rick has a horrible weekend and then Alpine overtake him.
Yeah.
But like that news just shook me to my core. I don't know. I think everyone else in the Formula One world was expecting it. I wasn't. I was like, he's staying with fucking AlphaTauri. All of you are lying.
Yeah, I was like half and half. So I don't know. I'm just happy for Nick. Because obviously I said like a few podcasts ago, I was like, oh, I feel like Nick's too old to like come into F1 now. So I don't think it will happen. And then this happens. I'm like, bestie.
You're a bit taken aback.
Yes.
I think that's what everyone kind of thought as well. Like Nick's obviously not the youngest F1 driver we've ever had like come into the grid. I think he's like 28, something like that. So like he's probably like the older end of most of the Formula One drivers. But like I don't know, starting in AlphaTauri I think is a good spot. But again, I wasn't expecting it. Like he went from Mercedes to Red Bull. Like when is this a thing? Because Albon did that. Now De Vries has done it.
I shared the meme the other day earlier. Wait, where's the meme?
But because surely Albon could have said like, "Oh, I'll swap with De Vries," and then De Vries could have taken the Red Bull. No, De Vries could have taken the Williams seat with Mercedes still, and then Albon could have gone back to Red Bull. So like, what is going on? Because you can't say that Albon still wants to be like talked to with Red Bull because he still has the Red Bull like logo on his helmet and stuff. So clearly Albon still wants to be represented by Red Bull. So I'm confused.
This is the meme that I shared. Oh, you can't see it.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that literally.
And then I told him, Toto, I'm going to Red Bull.
It's just so strange. I don't know. Their behavior is being weird at the moment, and I don't get what they're eating for breakfast at the moment. Because
and now we only have, isn't it just the Haas seat and a Williams seat?
Haas and Williams, yeah.
I actually don't know who could fill them.
Mick isn't staying at Haas, I'll tell you that for a fact. After yesterday,
I want him to, but I'm like,
can we all just admit that we all kind of liked Mick because of his dad? Can we admit that a little bit of our liking to Mick was because of his dad? Okay, can we just all admit this? This is a safe space to admit that fact. Okay, safe space, because it's just truth. Okay, Mick had promise in the lower ranks. Came to F1, he was shocking.
Yes.
Just what have you given me in the last 3 years?
Tears.
Someone tell me.
Tears.
That's what Danny's given me in the last year and a half. But obviously on the back of all the news, obviously like where people are going, where's Danny going?
I don't know. I saw something a bit like just before we started this podcast. He's like, it's looking more like he's not going to be on the grid in 2023. Maybe the reserve driver somewhere. Like I've heard rumors he might end up being Mercedes reserve driver.
But then if he does that, he'd want a seat for 2024. And Lewis has said he wants to be in the sport for another 5 years, which I can't see happening.
Wolf said that though. Did you see Hamilton's reaction to it? Toto Wolf. And then Hamilton was asked about it in a press conference, and Hamilton was basically like, "What? I don't see it myself."
Oh, that's the best miscommunication I've ever heard. Oh my god! So Hamilton's not actually said it. Toto said that Lewis is going to be in the sport for another 5 years, but Lewis hasn't confirmed that these 5 years are true.
That is correct.
Well, I don't know. He could stay with Daniel. Could go to Mercedes and hope that Lewis leaves at the end of the season. But if he doesn't leave at the end of the season, Daniel's again without a seat. Like, just go to Formula E, bestie, so I can meet you. Because if you go there, I can meet you. I swear to God, Daniel, just come to Formula E. It's a nicer place. We all love each other. We love everyone over there.
We do.
It's so great. Formula E is great. I will be everyone's advocate for that sport.
I will too.
We just hit Kiera on board now. But like they would in the paddock, they were discussing like going to supercars maybe, and I feel like a move to another sport would be smart. Like staying in F1 doesn't make sense to me because unless you get a seat for next year, what are you going to do next year? Like you're back in the same situation.
He's just keep spreading the positive vibes around the paddock, okay?
Okay, I love it.
He's just like, yo, I'm not racing, but I'm still here spreading the vibes.
But I need a seat from him. I don't care about the vibes. I need seats. I need a confirmed seat so I can stop crying. But let's all take a minute to cry because Daniel is probably not going to be in the paddock for 2023. And I'm going to miss him. Hey. Stop.
But also, what do we think Sebastian Vettel is up to? Because he's starting to post like bits and bobs on his Instagram. And I hear he got asked in the paddock the other day, he was like, are you making a documentary? He was like, I don't know.
I think he is. I think he's teaming up with like a Netflix kind of, and maybe not Netflix, but maybe like knowing Seb, it'd probably be like a self-employed filmmaker of some kind. Like he'd go to someone that like he knows, or like someone from his hometown that you know, something like that. I defo think Seb is bringing out some kind of documentary, and I will cry because there will definitely be a lot of Schumacher in there. There'll be a lot of Nick. There'll be a lot of him and his wife and his kids, and I will cry. Sebastian Vettel, you are going to make me cry. And I'm not ready for it to happen twice, maybe 3 times, because I'm going to cry when Daniel leaves, cry when Seb leaves,
all the tears.
I'm going to be crying for years, mate. No, nothing.
But just think of all the donuts they'll be doing in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, stop! Yeah. No, cry. Stop me once. It's going to be sad, man. I don't want the season to end, but we have 5 races left. Like, someone tell me where this season's gone.
No.
5 fucking races.
And it could be one this weekend.
We'll get onto that in a minute because there is some tea to spill about the championship from previous seasons. Maybe we'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanna cap off the driver market, literally cap the driver market by basically predictions. Who is going where? And what are we doing? Who's going where? So who's getting Haas seat? Who's getting the Williams seat?
Don't do this to me.
I have to say,
I don't know because I can't think of anyone else in F1. Like,
doesn't have to be one driver, does it?
Well, I don't know any of the drivers besides Formula E drivers.
Hulk to Haas, Logan to Williams.
Yeah, I feel like they'll put someone else in F2 in a seat. I don't know.
For sure, definitely. I can see it happening. It's especially in a Williams with Albon as like the second driver, but that's a solid pairing. And I do think it could be Logan, because I don't know if any of you seen, Logan has been at like every bloody race this year. Like, this man is following the team. And when I say following, I mean he's literally following them everywhere. And I'm like, Logan, just tell us, please. Tell us that you're coming. Because I've been waiting for this announcement for fucking weeks. But I think they'll announce it in Austin.
That'd be a cool place.
Logan, American, they'll announce it there, so it'll like create hype.
USA.
Well, your favourite American, fake American's actually in America. He's in America.
I know he is. Since he posts his location everywhere, and I discovered I was literally like 5 minutes down the road from him the other day.
Okay, before we get into that story, predictions. You can't get away from these predictions.
Sorry.
Who's Williams? Who's Haas?
I can't think of names, okay?
Draw them.
Hayley to Haas, okay? I'm going to Haas. Peace out.
Any driver for any team then? Like, what? Oh, do we have any suspicions?
Thank you.
Okay, that's optimistic.
Yeah.
I'd love that, but that's very optimistic, Hayley.
I know, but you just said any driver, so I'm just saying names. So that
but Jake's also in Formula E, so he can't exactly be in F1.
Leave me alone.
Kiera, because Hayley is.
I was thinking like Giovinazzi to Haas, but has he got a seat confirmed for somewhere else? Like, is he in a sport currently?
Giovinazzi's not got a seat because Dragon haven't closed, have they? But he hasn't been confirmed back for Dragon. So I guess he's free. And he did.
I was thinking him to Haas. Exactly. That's my theory, I don't know.
I wanted Hulk. I want Hulk.
Hulk could maybe go to Williams.
Get him back.
We need him back. I need him back for my sanity. If we lose Daniel, I need Hulkenberg back.
He could go to the Williams though, because the Williams second seat hasn't been confirmed either.
Yeah, but I'm so strongly thinking it's Logan, and if it's not Logan,
could be, yeah.
I will get a tattoo. If that Williams seat is not Logan Sargent, I'm getting a tattoo, because I swear to God, if Williams have thrown me something, I'm gonna cry. So Williams.
Let's just be sad that I can't do a shoey for Nico Latifi.
Oh, well, we all told you he was leaving. I could literally have told you that from the beginning of this season. From the beginning of last season, I could have probably told you that. Like, he was gone. I'm surprised Stroll's still here, to be fair.
Because his dad owns the team.
Man needs to get off of this fucking sucking shit.
I know, but his dad owns the team, so he's going to be there in whatever team his dad owns.
Well, shit, so he needs to leave. Daniel deserves his seat, okay? Yes. I mean, I guess that wraps up driver market, because I don't want to talk about driver market for ages, because I feel like all the F1 shows recently have been like, oh, this person's going here and this, because obviously it's the talk of the weekend, so everyone's talking about it, so I don't want to be the people to talk about it for ages, because I guess that's it. Like, Daniel's basically not got a seat. I'm crying, mum's crying, kids crying.
Your kids? You've got kids?
No.
Who's the dad?
My sister's kids crying, that's what it is. Mason's crying, mate. It's just sad. I'm not gonna lie. I want to cry. But if we talk about it any longer, I will cry.
Wipes the tears.
Tears will fall at Abu Dhabi. Let's not talk about it because I will cry. But the week's off. We've had a few weeks off now, but the race before was Monza. Yeah. So like the race before we had a break was Monza. So I guess the topic of Monza really was Nick de Vries coming in and scoring points on debut. And let me remind you, not just on debut in a car that he's not properly driven. in a car that is completely different to every other car you will ever drive because of like the differences in like the downforce, the differences of the car completely, the differences of the 18-inch tires, blah blah blah. Nick de Vries not even just scored points, he scored 2 points at Monza. Okay, Nick de Vries is just a king, and that is why he's Formula E world champion, and that's why we have Nick de Vries. That's why we chased him for a bloody selfie. Joking. But he's just a lovely man, so I just can't stop talking about Nick de Vries. He's the nicest man on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Just so lovely. But I feel like he was the main talk of the weekend. Because to get points in your first ever F1 race in a car that you've not properly driven, like, yeah, he's driven it a few times over the course of the weekend, but like he hadn't trained, he wasn't prepared to race. And then he came in and was just like, hello everyone, I'm just going to get P9 and take 2 points from all of you.
And then he couldn't get out the car.
Oh,
he was like, I'm stuck here in Park for a Mail. Could someone help me?
It was so freaking cute. And this is why I love Nick de Vries, because he'll own up to not being able to like do things. Whereas I feel like any other driver would have just like struggled and been like, I'm just gonna sit here for like 20 extra minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just so cute. Everything about the Monza weekend just made my heart happy. And
apart from Alex being in hospital.
Okay. But why after that happened, everything was good. Like
never good.
Once again. Although Danny did DNF, but
what was the top 10? I don't even know.
Who?
What was the top 10 in Monza? Can't remember.
Great question.
Great results. I've got it. Verstappen, Leclerc, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Perez, Norris, Gasly, De Vries, and Zhou Guanyu.
Yeah, but I think there was a few. We didn't have many DNFs. I think there was only 2 DNFs.
4. Danny Rick, Stroll, Alonso, and Vettel.
Technically, there was still 17 drivers on track. So we can't just say like, oh, he won or he got points because people DNF'd. He got points because he was fast, he knew what he was doing, and we love Nick de Vries. Is more of this story. We just love Nick de Vries. But we're not going to talk about Danny Rick yet because all the drama with the safety car, I feel like needs its own 5-minute segment because I'm still furious at the FIA for that. And me and the FIA can have problems, like me and Mr. Zach Brown have problems. It's not going to be good. I don't really know what else to talk about Monza, to be fair. It wasn't really, don't know, wasn't a whole lot
happening. I can't remember what happened. Oh, well, I mean, I was drunk for most of it, so I can't really remember.
I feel like Monza and Singapore were very boring. Like in the context of how much like other stuff we've had in other races.
Yeah.
I feel like Monza was very boring. Like what happened? No one can remember what happened because, like I said, it was a bit of a boring race. Like I don't know really what there is for me to talk about. Like I have a whole page of notes. I have a whole 2 pages of notes.
Like for Monza, I was ready for some Monza magic because we were like, oh, like random people win at Monza.
Yeah.
But then to be fair, it has been Verstappen's first win in Monza, so.
But like it's not fun. I don't think that's fun. Like Max is one of the races.
It wasn't fun.
Like I wanted a Hulk. Oh no, what was it? I wanted a Magnussen win.
Oh yeah.
Give me some good like single person winning. Fuck Max Verstappen. We love you, Max. Good luck with the championship this weekend. But give me someone else. This is what Monza's about. Monza is about people winning who you wouldn't think about winning. But like it's a bit boring. I don't know. I was exactly what I was doing right there. That's what I was doing in Monza. It wasn't the normal tempo of speed that we normally see. Like, I don't know. It was a bit, I don't know. I felt like it was a bit, I have no words. Monza was boring. Like, what even happened, man? Nothing happened. Literally nothing
No.
interesting. I just literally have people
I feel
pissing.
like the vibe of Monza was also the vibe of the fan experience in Monza, because everyone was like, it was rubbish there.
Yeah, so obviously none of us went to Monza, but I follow a lot of people. I follow, who do I follow? I follow a few people who went to Monza, and general consensus was that general admission was terrible. You couldn't see anything, and it was very, very crowded. Second of all, if you wanted water or food, you had to wait for like tokens, which apparently just weren't there. And apparently, when people tried to get them, there were like an hour-long queue just to get the tokens, and then another hour queue just to get a drink. The water lines were like an hour long, and apparently, just Monza people horrible. So.
And the security lines, like they have weird security restrictions. Like you're not allowed to bring in like plastic water bottles. You had to take the top off, and then water bottles like this you couldn't bring in. But yet they were selling them at the circuit anyway. Power banks you weren't allowed to take in.
That was a weird one for me.
I saw one of my friends who went. She had like the oh, where is it? Oh, it's not in here. The Aston Martin bucket hat, and she put it underneath her bucket hat. Walked in with it.
I think I saw that, but like it's ridiculous. Like people have travelled all day potentially to come to the circuit, and they're not allowed to bring a power bank in. What if they're like alone? What if they're travelling alone to this circuit?
Yeah.
Like, what if their phone dies? Are you going to take responsibility for them then, Monza? Are you going to let them charge their phone up? No.
No.
But you're not going to allow them to bring in a portable charger.
Was it also at Monza where like Ferrari fans was chanting about Max Verstappen's mom?
Maybe.
Probably. Sounds like something they might do.
Sounds like a Monza event.
I did see that they were booing Max when he got like didn't he get, was it pole position he got? But when he was doing like his interviews after quali, they were booing him. So.
I think Charles got pole.
Yeah. Or maybe, I don't know. He was in the top 3. I know that.
Yeah, he was second in quali, I think. Second.
Well, apparently Danny Rook was P4 at one point.
Yeah.
I don't remember this. But like again, the booing that happened at so many races this year. Why? What is the need for this like behavior from everyone? Because it's very childish. Like, so what, your favorite driver didn't win? So what, your favorite driver didn't get pole? Like, so what, anything? No one, like, if Hamilton like won, I wouldn't stand there booing, if that makes sense. Whereas when Max won, or when, I think it was when Max got pole in Silverstone, wasn't it?
Probably.
Was it? It's basically something at Silverstone, everyone was booing. And I didn't understand it because, like I say, if that was Hamilton, I wouldn't boo. Like, it's just wrong on so many levels because it's your favourite driver. Like, I don't think I ever heard anyone boo at the E-Prix. No one booed. It was lovely, respectful. There was no queuing, there was no pushing. You were allowed power banks. They even had power banks for you to charge your phones up with.
Oh yeah, or I just sat in the corner, used a plug.
But they also had like little power bank screens. But yeah, like, how comes the biggest sport on the planet seems to be, or like the biggest motor racing sport on the planet, should I say, is the most toxic? I just can't deal with it.
Preach it!
I don't deal with it anymore. But I just feel like everyone needs to relax themselves because it's not appropriate to just be like, oh, let me just boo for this person because my favorite didn't win. Shut up. No one cares that your favorite didn't win. Like, cry me a river. Literally cry me a river. Do I look like I care? It's just, yes, Hayley, it's very sad for those people who unfortunately have to boo other fans and have to
so sad,
be rude and offensive to other fans because they want to
such an effort to boo.
It's just, it's terrible. It's shocking behaviour, to be honest. And the FIA don't seem to really care, to be honest. The FIA just seems to be like, oh, you shouldn't boo. That's it. Like, they just don't care. And it's literally them. They're like, oh, don't boo. Hope you're all okay. I'm like,
yes.
like, fuck off. But as well, the FIA, we're going to talk about the FIA now because I want to get controversial with them because they annoy me. Michael Massey left because apparently he was toxic, he didn't know what he was doing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, somehow Michael Massey seemed to watch every incident that happened on the racetrack, give, correct, penalties for issues on track, and he was also consistent with his penalties. The FIA this year seems to go, oh, you block someone, oh, that's a 10-second time penalty. You block someone, oh, don't worry, dear.
Yeah, but the one time you get something wrong, it gives Max a championship.
But it's one
controversial
thing.
on it.
It's one thing, and it was a very, I'm gonna say it was a very small thing in reality.
Not really, because Hamilton would have won and got the championship if Massey didn't bend the rules.
Okay, but listen, hold out.
I'll hear you out. Go on.
So it's small in terms of the whole championship, because there were a lot of things that Massey should have said in other races, but in terms of this year, I'm talking Massey wasn't bad in terms of the way he was consistent with his penalties, the way things were dealt with when they were happening on track. Whereas here this year, an issue that really could have been solved on track, they were like, oh yeah, let's just wait 20 minutes to discuss the problem. What's the need? Just fucking watch the thing and discuss it, please. Because I'm bored. I'm getting bored. What do you want me to do? It annoyed me so much. But obviously we had the safety car at the end of the race because Daniel Ricciardo stopped on track. Now, the one reason I don't agree with the safety car was because we could have red flagged the session and gone back 10 minutes later and had 4 laps of racing. Would have been better. But yet they're like, no, let me just put safety car on and kill the race. What was the point? What was the literal point? There was literally a crane on the track. How dangerous is that? Did we not learn from Joel? I can't. The FIA annoy me every day of my life.
They annoy everybody.
But I know a lot of people were then chatting Red Bull and being like, oh, Red Bull orchestrated it for to be a safety car, blah blah blah. But then Christine after the race was like, we wanted a red flag. They wanted a red flag as much as anyone else because they wanted not the drama, but they like racing. That's what they do. They race. That's what it is. So driving behind a safety car for 4 laps because we can't decide to red flag an event. Literally all the commentators were like, just red flag it. Everyone was begging for a fucking red flag. So my moral of the story is fuck the FIA, we don't like them.
Just add it to the people we don't like.
I have a list of a lot of people I don't like in F1. The long list, and it starts with Zach Brown.
Brown's at the top of the list with the heart round it.
Zach is top bloody list, and I'm never working for McLaren. I've already thought that in my head. They're never going to report me after they see these videos. But I don't like him. I have the strongest dislike for Zach Brown, and he knows it. Hopefully I never meet him because we have some strong words to discuss it, Zach. So I was going to run off the Monza talk, to be honest, because none of us have anything else to say, to be honest with you. Just the main stories that came out of Monza were obviously Nick scoring points and Danny Rick causing the safety car, which should have been a red flag, and the FIA being very dodgy with their decisions. But when have we ever trusted the FIA? Time where I have. So that was Monza, which was just fun as always. I love Monza. I feel like Monza's one of my favorite tracks. It's definitely boring this year, but we move on. And then after Monza, we had how long? Like a 3-week break. I think it was like another 2 or 3 week break.
I don't know.
We were meant to have Sochi in Russia, but of course we did not have racing in Russia this year because of world
war.
Yes, I was going to say world economics or world politics because I don't want to get into politics on this podcast because I know nothing about politics. But yeah, basically the war and everything going on in Russia, the FIA decided not to race in Russia. So we had like a 2-3 week break, which I feel like everyone appreciated apart from the fans.
Yeah.
Us fans who wanted racing, we had to another 3 whole weeks for it. But then we arrived in Singapore. No, we didn't know. Yeah, sorry. I can't think straight. We arrived in Singapore, and this was my first ever Singapore. Like this was my first Singapore Grand Prix that I'd watched like officially, and everyone was hyping it up. I was like, oh my god, it's the best race of the season, blah blah blah. It's like so good, very aesthetic. I was bored.
You were messaging me like, I'm so bored, don't even bother watching it back. Like,
so bored, and everyone's gonna come at me for saying I was bored, but it was boring. The only good things, like nothing happened. Everyone just crashed out. Like there was no overtaking. There was no dramatic heading to the race. It was just 3 people crashed, or like 4 or 5 people crashed. Max got through like 2 or 3 people, and that was the end of the race. Someone tell me what else happened, because fuck all happened. It was a boring race season, and I don't really like Singapore right now. We're not friends. We're not friends, Singapore. We're not friends. I don't know what anyone else had to say about Singapore, but I think it was pretty boring. Everyone on my TikTok seemed to disagree with me saying it was boring. So I feel like
a lot of people in the F1 group chat I'm in said it was boring. So I was asking them, I was like, oh, who won the race? Blah, blah, blah. Anything interesting happened? They were like, no, nothing happened.
Kiera?
I mean, I feel like it's mainly just silly little stuff like Russell's radio message about Mick Schumacher. Everyone had something to say about that, and then this whole controversial Hamilton nose piercing situation.
Oh yeah.
But like the Hamilton thing happened off track. Like it wasn't a factor in the race. Like I thought.
That's what I'm saying. It was all like kind of off track sort of stuff.
Nah, it weighed him down by like 1 gram.
It weighed him down.
Oh, so heavy.
Just seems so silly to me, considering we've got the cost cap situation, which we'll talk about in a minute. But it just seems so silly to be so worried about nose piercing that it's had for many, many years.
It's because I don't even know why as well. They came down and joried this season. They were like, oh, there's a new like thing in the rules that say you can't put jory on a racetrack, blah blah blah. And it's like, why are we not bringing this up again? Like the FIA just seemed this season to be more interested in what drivers are doing off the track than what they're doing on the track. Like, is this a game of motor racing, or is this a game of who's the most stylish? Because I don't know at this point. Because you're judging Hamilton for wearing a nose piercing, but yet you can't decide if Perez was on or off the track in qualifying, and you can't decide when to give people penalties until 20 minutes after the race. Like, I don't know. The FIA, I think, just needs to get the priorities straight, because you're not for me.
Backing off that, Perez had to wait until after the race to find out if he could keep the win because of the safety car infringement.
That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. Yeah, that wound me up. That wound me up. That was where the drama first started for me. Why? What was the need? Someone tell me why we needed to wait 20 minutes. Not even 20 minutes, it was more like an hour. Like Ferrari said, if they knew before, they would have like sped up and like closed the gap to like 5 seconds. But they didn't know, so they didn't bother. It's like you haven't just ruined Red Bull's race at that point. You've ruined Ferrari's race. You've ruined whoever was behind them. I honestly can't remember, because
let
Singapore
yourself
was
down. You let the team down. You let everybody down.
The FI really did. I do have 3 pages of notes for Singapore, which is just the saddest part. Like, so much happened, but it was just so relevant. Like, obviously, like everyone just like leaving the track. Was that?
I said yeah.
Oh, yeah, like, it's just Hamilton goes into the wall, everyone pitting, you know, like, yeah. What was the point? Someone tell me actually anything good that happened in the race, because I'll pay you money if anyone comments on the YouTube video underneath and tells me one good thing that happened in the race. I will give you money. I will send you, I will bank transfer you £20. You can tell me one good thing that happened in the Singapore Grand Prix, okay? Because nothing good happened. It was boring. I was bored and I didn't want to be there. Not gonna lie. It just, I don't know. And then the rain. The rain didn't make sense because it started raining and we could have gone out on track easily, could have made it on track, put the wet tires on. That's what wet tires are for. And yet we have to wait like a good hour. I was sat in my bed for an hour waiting for the race to start. I was like, what is this? You either start the race or you don't start the race. And you could have started the race at that point. And a lot of the commentators were saying as well, what are the wet tires for if not for that situation? When it started to rain and you could potentially get a few laps in, you could get the race, or you could like get people to the grid, you know what I mean? What is a wet tire for really then? Like, we're not going to race in the rain. Surely we just shouldn't have a wet tire. It just, I don't know. The inters make sense because if it has been raining or if it's just like drying up, it makes sense to have the inters. But the wets, what's the point in the wets if there's no rain? I love wet driving. It's so much fun. You never know what's gonna happen. But now we just have none. Like, I feel like Spa last year was the last rainy session we've had.
Yeah.
Like, that was good. That was a good. Well, obviously it wasn't good because Lando crashed, but like, it was good up to that point because you didn't know what was going to happen. Like, it just made you want to watch it. And then now we're like, actually, we're going to take all your wet races away because we're too scared to let drivers drive. What's the point? Tell me. But yeah, basically, we do need to know, Hayley. We need to know. We also
watch the race, so I don't know.
We also need to know how good we are at karaoke, because we need to beat Yuki and Pierre at their karaoke duets. So we up for some karaoke soon because we need to beat Yuki.
Tequila.
But I'm going to go back to the Pierre because I listen. Does anyone else have anything else to say about Singapore?
All right, before we move on, let me ask both of you what your thoughts are on Russell, because after the radio message, everyone's coming out saying, oh, he's too arrogant and all this. So I just want to know your thoughts on good old Mr. George Russell.
I have thoughts on the situation because everyone's now referencing like Silverstone. They're like, oh yeah, George clearly drove into Guan Yu Zhou. I was like, how is Silverstone being brought into this? Because clearly, okay, other situations, Imola 2 years ago, George clearly crashed into Valtteri. Okay, I'll hold my hands up to that. George clearly crashed into Mick in Singapore. He didn't drive into bloody Guan Yu Zhou at Silverstone. I wish. People keep bringing it up. They're like, oh yeah, but George crashed into him. I was like, not on purpose. Do you think George was like, oh yeah, sorry, let me just ram Guan Yu Zhou? Like, what the hell? It makes me laugh that people bring that up. But other than that, I think I always used to think George was very mature, but recently, because obviously Imola, he was still quite young. I think he was very early in his F1 career. Was obviously still with Williams, and we hadn't seen an incident from him for a while, and I was like, cool, like George has grown up. And then he drove into Mick and was like, oh, that was Mick's fault. I was like, huh? Are you blind? I think George needs to go to Specsavers because you drove into Mick. So George, we were friends. I was beginning to like Mercedes. Kiera should be happy. And then George drove it bloody Mick Schumacher and was like, oh, it's not my fault. Here it is. I think Hayley's just seen the same notification I have.
Is it from the F1 app?
I had to make sure it wasn't like any drama that we could talk about. It's just an analysis of why AlphaTauri went to Nick. But yeah, Hayley can now talk on her thoughts on George.
I don't know. I think he's an all right driver. I know. What did he do in Singapore? I don't know. I didn't.
Oh yeah,
watch
she didn't watch
it.
the race. She didn't watch the race.
Well,
basically, yeah. Hey, Kiera
okay.
can
So he drove into Nick, blamed it on Nick, and then another part in the race they were, trying to get past each other and all that. And then Russell went on the radio and said, "Oh, it's like Nick's driving the race of his life." Crikey! Don't forget the crikey at the end.
Oh, I saw the crikey. They were like, "How British of him!" Crikey.
But yeah, a lot of people just thought it was arrogant and immature.
Okay. I
That was
do
it,
get
really.
like kind of arrogant posh boy vibes from him.
I agree.
But like as a driver himself, like he's definitely like shown himself. For like besides the odd race, he's consistently in the top 5 every race. Just besides like, is it 2 races he wasn't?
Yeah.
So I think he's all
well,
right.
Kiera, what do you think of George? So we obviously know you love Mercedes, but
I love Mercedes, but also please note that I wanted Bottas to stay at Mercedes.
Same.
So please keep that in mind. But I think it was a bit uncalled for, both blaming Nick and then saying he's fighting for his life because he's going to see. Where is he going to go? So I think it's
George,
a bit
you're
immature.
safe here.
Literally, you're safe. Nick's not. Let him do what he's got to do. So I think it was.
It reminded me of the Molly May thing. You know, like when Molly May was like, we all have the same 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
It was very Molly May things to do. I was like, George, don't start going, everyone's flying for that. Okay, you've been privileged enough to have these Mercedes Williams seats for the last like 6 years of your 4 years of career. Okay, don't be Molly May because I can hate on you if I want to. So it's like, George, very insensitive. Mr. Russell, very insensitive. There are people out there who don't have F1 seats, okay? Like our friend Mitch Evans and our friend Jade Dennis, okay? Don't take your position for granted because I'll take it away from you after it. Come and start racing for them. Okay, Kiera, you can have the floor now. I'm done with my rant.
Me, I can't have the floor, but another thing that I wanted to quickly mention was, there's the McLaren girls and guys. Lando and Danny was P45, which I think is a good result for McLaren and Lando and Danny.
Because everyone else wasn't there.
I mean, yeah, but just let them have it.
Lando is okay.
Both Alpines crashed out. I'm pretty sure.
Just let McLaren have it. They don't get a lot.
Leave me alone. Okay.
They only got that by chance. Okay, I'm not.
Let me have my happy McLaren moment and forget about Zach Brown's existence and just pretend that they're owned by somebody else. Right?
I don't know. I just.
At 2.0.
What was that?
At 2.0.
I just got on. I don't know. I think McLaren were just lucky, like I say, with their closest competitors not finishing the race. They obviously didn't have that like competitor close enough to them to kind of like stop the battle. But I do think Danny asked like 4 times to overtake Lando because he was clearly faster. And once again, he was denied by his engineer. So definitely grew hate towards Zach Brown again. Because again, it's ridiculous now. Like Danny has more pace. He has done at least 3 races this year. And every time Danny goes, can I go ahead of Lando? They go, no, you can't. And I'm like, but he has more pace. Like, I know he's not your favorite driver, but let him have it. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, it annoys me. They annoy me. McLaren just annoy me.
Can we also talk about Danny's helmet?
Danny's helmet.
Danny's helmet in. Oh wait, I've gone back to Monza. Oh gosh, no.
Sorry.
Danny's helmet in Monza. What was that?
I don't remember.
No, that's what I mean. Monza was a fever dream. I'm not joking. Hold on,
It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I must have changed a screenshot of it. I want to buy it, but I just do not have the funds to buy it.
Oh, that was his Valentino Rossi one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love it.
I like it.
It weren't my favourite.
I do because it's such a Danny thing. Like it's just such a Danny vibe. But not at £157.
You know what I did think was cute? Hold on. Oh, there's not a direct picture of it. This helmet from Alex.
Oh, is that
the orphanage
animal one?
The orphanage one. I don't know if there's a picture of it. This one.
Oh, the Singapore one. Oh.
Yeah. The one that he did for.
I also love Mick's helmet. Mick's helmet is so pretty.
Is that for Japan?
Japanese.
Yeah, for Japan.
I don't think I've seen that. Hold on.
Love it.
It's cute.
It's like cherry blossoms and they're all hand painted. Look at it. It's perfect. I want it in a mini model.
I'm just showing everyone so that no one has to go and relook.
Mini. I want it in a mini model.
Wait, hold on. It's too dark now.
Perfect.
There we go.
I feel the helmets this year have all just been a vibe. And there's so many that I just want to order. And I'm like, can't afford it. The only one I've bought was after Silverstone. I bought Lando's helmet. That was, well, this one doesn't count. Wait. We're just like, show Hayley's F1 merch, okay? Look, we have Kiera's helmet from Miami. But only because they had it when I was in Austria at the AlphaTauri store. So I was like,
I do like that one.
You're coming home with me.
Do quite like that one. But like, just, I don't know. I feel like, again, like the FIA,
perfectly.
I don't know, the FIA have given the drivers so little time to like give themselves personality this year that the drivers have seemed to like want to like express themselves in their helmets, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What do I know about these drivers apart from that some of them have funny helmets and some of them don't? Like, if I'm new to the sport, I don't know much about who any of these people are. It winds me up because the FA are like, yep, you're not allowed to have any fun on the weekend. Like, fuck you all. The FA and Zach Brown are not my friends right now.
Yeah.
Just can't do it.
I'll take this off now.
I don't think we've discussed the new calendar for next year. How do we all feel about having 2024 races?
I have some things to discuss about the calendar and not just having
a vibe.
Because
let's go.
Okay, let's go. Not just how many races, but how they've like separated them over the course of the calendar. Like, we were told that we'd get them grouped by continent, which I was like, great, great for the world.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it made more sense. And now we're flying like halfway across the world. Then we're flying halfway back across the world. Then we're flying another half.
One that annoys me is Vegas to Abu Dhabi. I'm like,
I don't get it. I honestly just, someone needs to explain to me how this schedule was made and who made it and who gave the go ahead for the schedule.
They must have been drunk while they made it. I know it wasn't me when I was drunk.
Like, the one thing with Formula E is, at least I can say, is that even if they're not grouped solely by continent, like they're not together, there's enough time for everything to move around sustainably. So if they're not the most sustainably, like place to place, there's enough time to get things moved. With the Formula E or Formula One, it's like every weekend we have to be racing, and every weekend we have to be in a different continent, and we're gonna like they do nothing to save the planet at races anyway as well.
Like, unless your name's Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, like unless your name's Seb.
That's gonna stop next year though, isn't
it? So who is gonna do the promoting to like save the planet stuff? I'm not like no use plastic, whatever, but I think if there's a way for you to stop putting harmful gas into the world, you should take it, and Formula One has enough money to do that. But they're like, nah, we're not gonna do that. We are gonna put those bad emissions into the world because we don't care, because we are the FIA and we don't care. And I'm like, I also think 24 races is a bit much. Not gonna lie to you, I think it's a ridiculous amount of races. I think it's going to be boring by the end of the season. Like nothing's going to happen, and I don't really like the races. So that's my thoughts. I don't like them.
Silverstone, lads.
I'm not going.
Well, you smell.
I might go as a race
You should
maker.
come to the Dutch Grand Prix with me, because I'm still going to do that if I get my tickets.
I'm only going to the Formula.
Did you just straight up say no?
Yeah.
No.
I'm not supporting Formula One this year. I'm not giving them any of my
That's a
money.
bit rude.
I'm not. They're so like wrong to the world and everything. And I don't know. I don't want to support a company that are that like, I don't know, very blind to everything that's going on in the world, especially like the cost of living crisis and how they're putting Silverstone prices up every like 5 minutes. True. Like, I just don't know if I want to associate myself with something like that at the moment.
Like, I feel like that might have been Silverstone itself and not like Formula One.
But still, like Formula One have been.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I'd rather put my money into a sport that doesn't like not exploit people, but doesn't do stuff like that. I'd much rather. So I do still want to work in F1 though. So if anyone wants to give me a job.
Yeah, don't blackmail it. No, not blackmail, badmouth it. And then
I'm not
like,
no, but I'm saying I don't want to give them money. I'm not giving them money, they're giving me money.
True.
But I think a lot of people agree with me. Like there's so many things that have gone wrong this year that either the FIA or F1 haven't really like talked about. And unless these things have been discussed, unless they kind of clamp down on things like obviously Monza and obviously the Silverstone ticketing, nothing's come out about the Silverstone ticketing as to why they were going up every 5 minutes. Like I don't want to give Silverstone money per se, because it's just, why would I do that? Why would I give you money when you've just taken everyone in the UK's money? Not
to flex or whatever or anything, but I got them when they were like the cheapest on the first day. So
leave me alone, okay? I was on that payment page, and then they just refreshed the page and kicked me out of the queue, and now I had to pay £400 for my tickets.
It's ridiculous.
I want to throw something. Angry.
It's just stupid. Like how.
It's okay now, new job, so I get to spend the whole weekend there. Yay!
But like, it's how Kiera could probably be sat next to someone who paid double what Kiera paid. Like, do you know what I mean? Someone could be sat in a better seat than you, or in a worse seat than you, and paid more for it.
Yeah.
What? It just, my brain doesn't compute to what has happened. Like, I don't know. The FIA, F1 and Silverstone need to sort their lives out, because, not gonna lie, I don't like any of you right now. I'm joking. I love you, agency. I want a job, please. Need a job, please. Industrial placements. Yeah, I feel like that's everything like F1 race related, should I say. Like, there's nothing really more Monza, nothing really more Singapore.
So we're going to talk about the elephant in the room with the cost cap of last year.
Yeah, and I was
about time. Yeah,
I was going on the cost cap because I think everyone has things to say on this podcast. So We'll all have
I don't know. I'm still trying to understand it. I don't get it.
Okay, I'll give you an explanation in the words that I have understood it, because I feel like sometimes the F1 people can speak in like a really strange way about it, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
But like, so every team, this is obviously for last year, so every team was given a certain amount of money. I do not know how much money that was. I've forgotten how much money, but it was like,
I think it was like 140.
I was going to say it was about 150
euros,
something like that.
Yeah.
So like that. So every team is given the same amount of money, no matter how big you are, no matter how small you are. And that is how much money you're allowed to spend on like improving your car. So every upgrade a team brings to a race. So even if you upgrade the floor by the tiniest bit, that's cost you money. So it does cost you, and like as well, the cost cap covers like people's wages and stuff. So within the cost cap, you have to obviously employ enough people at the right price to obviously be able to afford, you know, everything else. So basically, what's happened is there's been a suspected breach of the cost cap of two teams. We don't know what two teams, so I'm not going to say what two teams everyone suspects, because it's not fair and it's not right, because no one, the FIA haven't confirmed that it's Red Bull and Aston Martin. As far as I'm concerned, if I'm wrong, I will correct myself.
I think they're going to confirm it on Monday.
I was going to go on to that. But yeah, so two teams haven't confirmed which two teams. We're meant to get the results of the cost cap, like look into. I don't know the word. The cost cap assessment, I think it was. On Monday.
Wednesday this week.
Wednesday, yeah. So basically, Wednesday just gone. We were meant to hear. We were then told we won't hear until Monday now. And first of all, I'm confused. What is taking so long? If everyone's given in their regulations, everyone's given in the cost caps, then what is taking so long? Can we not do maths? Because if you can't do maths, you don't need a job. Give me the job instead. Can't do maths.
I think they've either probably found new evidence, or they're trying to figure out what punishment to give said teams.
The word punishment just makes me laugh and thinking of the F1 world. But like, as well, in the grand scheme of F1, basically the worst case scenario is if Red Bull have been found to have infringed the cost cap, Max could lose his championship. And I think that's the worst thing, knowing that he could win the championship tomorrow, but lose last year's championship the day after. And I don't think it's fair that like Max worked all that year to win the championship. I'm not going to sit here and say that Hamilton didn't deserve it, blah, blah, blah. Of course he deserved it, Max deserved it too. But for them to have both worked hard to get to where they were at the end of the championship, and then for basically the FIA to go, actually, you might not be allowed that championship. I don't think it's fair that you can take someone's championship away after they've just got it. Like, how is this allowed? This is what I mean. The FIA are really annoying me. But I don't know. You guys can have your discussions about it in a second. But I think you just shouldn't be allowed to take someone's championship away after you've given it to them for basically a year now. And you're like, by the way, you actually only have won one championship. And also, does it mean that every single one of Max's wins last year didn't happen? Like, the FIA just haven't seemed to put out much information, and it's a kind of a game of guessing. And everyone is also bad-mouthing Red Bull a lot, which is really annoying me, because it's not been confirmed that it's Red Bull, but everyone's just jumped on this bandwagon like, oh yeah, definitely was them. Like, imagine it comes out that it was Mercedes. Like, I will laugh, because Mercedes have been the biggest to roast Red Bull, and if it comes out to Mercedes, I will laugh at all of you. That's all I have to say on the topic, to be honest. Sort your shit out, FIA, please.
I think, like, as a Hamilton fan, I would love for Hamilton to be an 8-time world champion, but Hamilton wouldn't want to win it that way. No driver would want to win it that way. They would want to outright race win. You know what I mean?
It's not legit
so I think
in
it's
that way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Exactly.
And I say legit because the way Max won the championship maybe wasn't legit, but like this way either isn't legit. So the championship hard at this point. It's all fake.
But I think I just have a feeling that it's going to be a minor breach for said teams, and I think it should be points taken off the team through constructors, because let's face it, Perez, Verstappen, Vettel, Stroll, they're not the accountants, they're the drivers, so they have nothing to do with the money aspect of anything. So I think it's really unfair in that respect. But then if it's true, the teams do need to be punished. Not the drivers, the teams. That's my opinion on it.
Hayley?
I don't know.
we should just stop throwing to Hayley, because I feel like Hayley's just so undecided on everything. She just nods along with us, agrees when she needs to. I love that though.
Just like the theoretical side of it, like, oh, I don't understand that stuff. So I just watch the races. Oh my god, that makes me sound like such a Drive to Survive fan. Oh no.
You don't use those words on this podcast, Hayley.
Well, you call me it, Millie. Don't lie. You call me a Drive to Survive fan.
Okay, Even
though I'm not, because that's not how I got into it.
Fight me. This up. I called her Drive to Survive fan maybe once or twice, because I can't remember what. I think we were at the Formula E, and she was crying because Max won and Charles didn't, or something. And I was like, "Oh, you're a Drive to Survive fan," but I didn't. It wasn't like an insult. I wasn't insulting her. It was just a fake insult to a friend who was annoying me because Max won. Just a fake insult. Okay, guys, I'm not a bully.
To be honest, I never understand this Drive to Survive fan stuff, because surely no matter how you get into the sport, we should just be grateful F1's getting more acknowledgement, no?
Exactly. It annoys me, man. Like, people just need to grow up. Like, who cares if I got into it because of a TV show I watched? Who cares if I got into it because of a family member? Who cares if I got into it because of because of anything? Who cares? Yeah, like what? Does it matter why I got into it? No, it matters that I watch it, and it matters that I'm part of the sport. Go away, stop bullying me for how I got into it. I technically got into F1 because I saw a few TikToks and was like, oh, this is really good. Like, this was when I properly got into it. Like, I'd known about it for a while, but I properly got into it when I saw a few TikToks. But yeah, I'm not called a TikTok fan. But like, how is Drive to Survive a thing? It just annoys me that people think Drive to Survive fans are an insult, because it's not. I think they're probably some of the best fans we have.
Yeah.
They love the drama and they love the intensity of the races. So I think they're some of the best fans. And I think they're the least toxic.
Probably, yeah.
Like, they haven't grown up in the world of like Hamilton obviously winning for like years back in the day. Like, so they haven't got that obscured vision of like.
I mean, to be fair, I love that.
No, but like, you know what I mean? Like, some people will be toxic because of Hamilton obviously winning all those years ago. They think he's like the best driver, no one can overtake him, blah blah blah. So I feel like sometimes Drive to Survive fans can be very like little toxic because no one's had like a winning few years in the last few years of the sport. Like, I don't know. But anyone else have anything to say on the cost cap? Just do what you like, FAA. Tell us what's going on, because I need to know. I feel like that wraps up this weekend, or this episode. Before we go, everyone's predictions very quickly. Very quickly, who's winning?
I don't want it to be Max, but I feel like it's going to be Max.
Max takes the championship. I'm a happy gal. Life's great.
Not if he doesn't get fastest lap. He has to win and get fastest lap.
No, so he just has to win, but then if Charles comes second, he doesn't win. But if Charles comes third, he then wins without fastest lap.
See, so I'm saying Max, Charles, Perez.
Like, screw this. No, I do think Max is going to win, and I think Ferrari is going to crash out. I think Charles is going to go, you know what, I can do this, I can beat him, and then crash out.
Yeah, he might get a bit cocky.
Yeah, I think he might try and get too much in his head and be like, I can stop Max from winning the championship, or it goes the other way and Max loses and loses the whole championship. Because someone politely informed me on TikTok that it could happen. And like, this is the championship. And I cried. But I feel like that's everything that we had to discuss. The 2 most boring races of the season. We've managed to make this like an hour long or something. I don't know how we finished that because they were boring. But yeah, I guess I will Max win the championship this weekend. Kiera doesn't. Hayley is
I don't mind, but he probably will win.
I'll be at Brands Hatch tomorrow if anyone else is there. I'll be there. VIP pass. So I guess in the next episode we can have a little discussion about it. I don't know if you 2 watch any BTCC. I don't really, but we can do race talks. Talk about how the VIP life is. But yeah, we will see you in the next episode, and hopefully Max has a second championship. We hear about the cost cap. And have a great weekend at